Hello everyone, welcome along. It is a new week here on Betting Weekly WTA. It's your number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. I'm your host Nigel Seeley. Before I introduce you to our WTA handicapper Tim Dennis, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the like, give us your comments. It's been a great Australian Open for content here on the channel. Hope you've enjoyed it. A lot of you have joined us, but not many of you are hitting that subscribe button, and it will really help us. And it will keep us being able to do the shows we do for you across the world of tennis and the world of sports betting as well. Good morning, Tim. It's a bit like after the Lord Mayor's show, isn't it? We had the Australian Open last couple of weeks. Brilliant major tournament. And now back to earth with a couple of 250s and a 500.
Yeah, back to the grind. Couple of 250s and a 500. A long way away from the sort of Grand Slam level we've been used to over the past couple of weeks. But it's a bit like being back in the UK compared to being away in Egypt, Nigel. Though it's just a bit of a back down to earth with a bang.
Yeah, obviously he follows Tim. He's been seeing him in the sunshine on our Instagram account, giving you winners at Because We Win. Follow us across all socials there. The only unfortunate thing about this is obviously the whole of the betting world has been watching the Australian Open. Those lazy bookmakers haven't got up with the prices yet for the tournaments and haven't, and the draws aren't even out. I can't believe it. The draws aren't even out on two of the tournaments this week, and they start tomorrow. So we have three tournaments this week. We have a tournament in Transylvania, in Romania. We have a tournament in Abu Dhabi, and we also have a tournament in the Czech Republic, in Ostrava. And unfortunately, at the time of recording, we've waited long enough. We've only got one draw out at the moment, and unfortunately, we can't really break them down. But don't worry, myself and Tim will be covering both of the tournaments and giving you our thoughts after the draw, and with some odds as well, available exclusively on our socials, on Instagram, at Because We Win. But we do have a draw in Transylvania, in Cluj, in Romania. It's not the most glamorous of 250s, but it's a tournament that has had some decent winners in the past. And here is the list of the recent winners and runners-up. Last year, Anastasia Potapova won the tournament, and she's back to defend her title this year. Karolina Pliskova won it in 2024, and she could set up a second-round matchup with Potapova, so the two winners from the last 2 years could meet in round two. Korpach is won it in 2023. Blinkova won it in 22. And Konzavate, whatever happened to her, 2021 was up to world number 2. Usually in Romania, Romanian players don't usually do very well, but only two or three, I think, in the last 5 years have made it to the runner-up. No one's won this tournament from their home country, which is a bit of a shock because Romanian players usually do well at home, and there's a whole host of Romanian players in action. Before we look at the draw and go through the draw, Tim, you looked at the trends, what you need to find a winner in Cluj. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, this just the sixth tournament they've had here. It used to be very slow, but they've got new courts this year. That's something we'll talk about in a little while in a bit more detail. So we'll just have to keep an eye on conditions as the tournament goes on. There have been three unseeded winners in the past 4 years, and a Romanian player has made the final every year except last year. So I think Simona Halep, she was the number one seed. She was actually beaten there, and the Romanians have got some good players to go to war with this week. You've obviously got Jacqueline Christian in there. Castilla, she'll be looking to finish her career off. She'll be fully motivated to do well here. So the Romanians, even though they haven't won the tournament, they do have a pretty good record here of getting to the finals. So they'll be very confident of at least keeping that up to date and hopefully going on to win for one of the home players.
Let's have a look at the draw, and this is the draw. And if the seedings go the way to planning, this is how it will pan out. Raducanu is the number one seed. Just shows you what kind of level this tournament is. She got rid of another coach last week. I mean, she's had more coaches than the London bus service. She's number one seed. She'll play number 7 seed Danilovic in the quarterfinals if it goes to seed. Wang will play Bondar in the other quarterfinal. And for Romanian interests, it's the bottom half where you want to be. You've got Potapova, the defending champion, up against Sorana Castilla. Rusic will play Christian as well. So the main hopes for the Romanians are in that bottom half of the draw. That is the draw. And that is where we start. Let's have a look at this draw. First of all, who do you think is going to start favourite for it?
Well, that is a good question, Nigel. I mean, do you think Christian? Maybe if I had to choose one, I'd probably go Jacqueline Christian.
Tough first round match though against
Camilla Osorio.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure whether she'll play though. She might not play. because she's doing well in the Philippines at the moment. So that she might not play in that tournament.
Keep an eye on that. I think the top half looks easier than the bottom. I don't know what you think, but I think if I was choosing a player, I'd rather be a player in the top half. I think that bottom half is slightly deeper.
Yep, definitely for me. I mean, Raducanu, looking through her odds, I think she, just by name, I think she could start close to the tournament favourite. Just doing a rough sort of guide on where I think she'll be. I think she'll probably be around about 6-1 in the market. And I think you're looking at a tournament here where it could be 5 or 6-1 the field. It will be that kind of tournament here.
Yeah,
so
it's got that kind of
you're not going to get
isn't it? Yeah.
you're not going to get a low price tournament winner. You're going to get someone at a decent price to be the tournament winner. So yeah, I think Raducanu may edge it. Serena Kerr, Jacqueline Christian at number 2 seed. If Osorio doesn't play, which I expect, like every tournament after a major tournament, there's so many withdrawals, and the draw will look very different anyway. I think she'll be vying for favouritism as well. But where are you? What part of the draw are you aiming to attack, or what players have you got on your list?
I think the top of my list is going to be Olga Danilovic. She's had a reasonable season so far already, and I want to be against Raducanu. I think, like you say, she's probably on name alone, she might end up being tournament favourite, and the fact that she's the number 1 seed might add a little bit of a weight to that. But obviously, a lefty as well, goes well in indoor conditions. I think she won an indoor title last year, and I just think with Raducanu being in that top half, and I think the other seeded players, Wang and Bond, are scheduled to get to the quarterfinals if it does go to seedings. I think Danilovic should be making the semi-finals here, and if she did make the semis and she lived up to that seeding and played Wang or Bondar, I'd fancy her over those two as well. So a player lefty, difficult to play, certainly in indoor conditions as well, which she goes well at and has a good record in. I'll be interested to see what price Danilovic is priced up when it comes out.
I reckon you're going to get around about double figures, 10, maybe 10, 12-1, Danilovic, maybe 10-1. That'd be the kind of price you'd be wanting.
Yeah, no, I think if I got double figures, I'd probably take that now, Nigel. If somebody was offering it to me, I think I'd take double figures now. So we'll have to wait and see when the prices do come out. But she's certainly the one that interests me at the moment.
I think we're coming at it from a similar kind of thing here, that the bottom half looks a lot tougher. You know, Potapova is in there, Pliskova, the two people who've won this tournament in the last couple of years, the 2 high-profile Romanians as well. So the bottom half is definitely one to avoid. But I'm coming at it from the angle of similar approach to where I sort of approached Cocciaretta a few weeks back. I don't like to speak about Cocciaretta. I don't like to speak about 50-1 winners like given the show, but I did give a 50-1 winner at Cocciaretta. If you haven't seen it on Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram. You can watch it again. I don't like to speak about it. But when I gave that 50-1 winner at Cocciaretta the other week, I sort of went in a section of the draw where I thought it was weak, and I thought the opportunity arose for her to come through. And I think Q2 looks the weakest section of this draw by some distance. Nowhere near as bad as that Q3 a few weeks ago. But I do think that is the area where you could get someone who can definitely get to the semi-finals and then just have a little bit of luck, and you might be able to play the each way that Bet Rivers offer and get someone in the final. And I was looking at that section.
Sorry to interrupt. Wasn't Wang the number 4 seed when you went for that section last time with Cocciaretta as well? I've got a feeling it might well have been.
Yeah, but Wang is the girl I like this week. I like her. I thought she did well. She did well at the Aussie Open. You know, she beat Ostapenko, made it through to the 4th round, got beat by Anisimova. I'm not quite sure whether that's a factor that someone's gone deep or relatively deep compared to others at the Australian Open. I don't know. It's in your thought process. If someone's had a decent run, would you think that, or would you think that's?
I think there's probably none of these players at this level are going to go too deep. Obviously, it's a bit of a travel from Australia back into Europe here. But I think these players are going to have a big enough break and enough time to get attuned to conditions that I think even if they went, like you say, Wang got reasonably far into that competition, but not far enough for it to cause a problem for her, I don't think.
Yeah, just a bit of a travelling in Australia all the way back to Romania. It's a long old haul. I don't know if you'd be better fresh players who didn't play or come out earlier, time to sort of get used to the conditions. But that's probably why after a major as well, unseeded players have done well because they've been at home or in the area, and especially the Romanian players, that they haven't had to travel. So that might be a factor. to have a look at, because this is a long distance, especially in the tournament in the Czech Republic as well. It's a long way to travel. But I was looking at Q2, I was looking at Wang, and I was thinking if I could get sort of like, again, double figure-ish prices, I'd probably attack her. So we're coming from the same angle, but different players. Looking at the top half, trying to get a finalist and trying to have a hope of trying to get hot in that final. So there's a couple of little looks there. Danilovic in Q1, Wang in Q2. Bottom half of the draw looks the most difficult area, and I think that will see some decent matches, and the way to get the value is by playing it in the top half. Okay, let's move on to our second tournament, and we have just got the draw landed. The draw has just come in for Abu Dhabi. Producer John has just sent it to me, so this is hot off the press. So before I give you the draw, this is real live now, because the draw's going to come in, and we're going to have to put you on the spot to find out who you're going to go. So before we go into the draw, what have you got for me, Tim, in terms of key trends to find a winner in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, well, similar to the tournaments we've spoke about and are going to speak about, this tournament started in 2021, so just the fifth time it's been played here. Last year was very quick. Only two tournaments that were quicker on the service hold percentage all year were on the hard courts, were Monterey and Brisbane, and we all know how quick Brisbane was this year and how it can be. So I think it tends to be sort of very quick conditions, even though the temperatures aren't super hot out here. It's still warm and sunny. So, but certainly court conditions are on the quick side. I think that for that reason, like we've just spoke, it does suit the bigger hitters and the stronger servers. I mean, the previous winners there, Bencic has won it twice, Sabalenka and Rybakina. And the number 1 or 2 seed has won it every year until Bencic was unseeded last year, winning it, and she was only unseeded because obviously she's coming back from having a child. So you can probably put a little bit of an asterisk next to that sort of unseeded marker. There was a reason for it. So number 1 or 2 seeds certainly have a strong record, and I think you want someone who's a strong server and one of the bigger hitters that will thrive in quick conditions.
Let's have a look at the previous winners, and as you say, they are the who's who of women's tennis. It's the big guns who've won this tournament. Belinda Bencic won it twice. She won it in 2025 and 2023. Elena Rybakina, 2024, obviously in the final of the Australian Open, and Aryna Sabalenka won it in 2021, obviously also in the final of the Australian Open. So they are big name players who've won it. Obviously, you've got a chance by getting someone at the final. Kruger got the final at a big price. Kasatkina, Samsonova, and Kudermetova also at a decent price got to the final. But the number 1s, number 2 seeds do usually win this tournament. And the draw is hot off the press. And here is the draw. The top 4 seeds receive buys through to the round 2. And the number 1 seed is Belinda Bencic. She's defending champion, 2 times champion, will be the tournament favourite. There's no doubt about that. Was in great form going into the Australian Open, and then she got beat to lose our quarter match, where she had that awful match against the Bartonakova, wasn't it? That was the girl who beat her. Didn't know much about her, but she produced a great shot. So Bencic is in to the top half. She is scheduled to play Ostapenko. Ostapenko's in all kinds of trouble. She plays a qualifier in the first round, and potentially Kruger in round 2. So Bencic v Ostapenko is in Q1, which is very favourable for the number 1 seed. In the second quarter, Clara Towson is the number 3 seed. She, again, has a bye. Kasatkina awaits her in round 2, possibly. And then she will play Leylah Fernandez. So Towson v Leylah Fernandez makes up the top half of the draw. So Bencic, Ostapenko, Towson, and Leylah Fernandez. Obviously, qualifiers have got to go into there, which will make a big difference. And in the bottom half of the draw, we have big servings Ludmila Samsonova, the number 5 seed. She will play Sophia Kenning in round 1. Maya Joint or Chien will wait for her in round 2. And she's scheduled to play Emma Navarro. So Samsonova v Navarro. And in the bottom half of the draw, which is quite, in the last Q4, which is quite a difficult Q, Paula Badosa plays Buzaz Monero in round 1. Ilia will play Sonmez in that section. So Badosa's Munez Monero will play Ilia Sonmez. And then Haddad Maya Yastremska against Alexandrova. So I think Q4 is the most difficult section of this draw. But immediately that draw has come out, and immediately I think it's going to be very difficult to beat the defending champion, Belinda Bencic.
Yeah, a big shock, like you spoke of, when she lost that match in the Australian Open to bust our sort of quarter betting, because she was fantastic, wasn't she, at the United Cup before that, beating Swiatek, beating Goff. And she looked to be a player sort of really going places. So I think we can forgive her sort of one-off day, perhaps. Obviously, she comes here defending champion, won it before as well, so won it twice as the number one seed. Conditions shouldn't play any sort of concerns to her. I think she's got a reasonably favourable draw there, obviously with the bye in the first round, and then in that section, Ostapenko, you just never know what you're going to get from her, but you certainly not a player
She
you
looked
want to be
dreadful at the
relying
Australian
on.
Open. I mean, she played Wang, and it was one of the most diabolical. It was the worst women's tennis match I've seen for a long time. I bet Wang couldn't hold her serve. Ostapenko was awful. I mean, I think she's really gone at the game. I think she's going to drop out of the top 50 the way she's playing. I think she's really bad. She's a fade whoever she's playing, Ostapenko.
Yeah, completely agree. I just don't know whether she's just concentrating a bit more doubles now, because she does play doubles every tournament she plays in as well. So whether that's taking her mind off the singles a little bit, I'm not really sure. But yeah, she looks miles off it. Just keeping an eye on this draw. Yes, Stremska is a player I like, but she's right down in that bottom quarter. Got a tough first round against Hadeb Meyer. I wouldn't fancy Emma Navarro at all. I think the conditions will be far too quick for her here. I think she wants it a lot slower and a bit more time on the ball. Samsonova might be interesting. Big server, likes these quick conditions. She's got, again, first round match against Ken in there, though, so it might be a little bit tough. But I think, like you say, the obvious one is benches. As you can see, nothing you're going to learn there, being the number one seed and defending champion. But she clearly goes well here, and if we forgive her that one shot loss in Australia, she looks miles ahead of these.
Yeah, I would have her around about 2-1 to win this tournament. Just done a quick maths there. Got her around about 1-7, minus 700, minus 400, minus 200, minus 200 on her route. Calculate that all up, it comes just a little bit over 2-1. Take a little bit of percentage away. I think she'll be around about a 2-1 shot to win this tournament. So I know it's an obvious play, but there's 2-1 shots and there's 2-1 shots, and I think Bencic at 2-1 here could possibly be a little bit of value. If you get bigger than 2-1, it's a great bet. But Bencic for me, are you off Simmer Ilk, or you think that someone bottom half of the draw could be worth attacking from an each way perspective?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, like obviously we just mentioned Samsonova just quickly there. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Navarro. I think Badossa's still got a lot to prove. She shows glimpses, but not enough for me quite yet to go going through an entire tournament. I did say Yastremska, a player I liked. Alexandrova's been in awful form so far this year. Conditions should be perfect for her. This should be right up her street, but she's looked miles off it so far this year. A real disappointing start to her season. So yeah, Ayala's played a ton of tennis, Cynthia. I think after losing early in Australia, I think she went back to her homeland to play in Manila, where she's played plenty of tennis and obviously got
beat by Azoria.
Exactly, and obviously got to get here. So a lot of effort for her. So how much she's got in the tank, and a difficult first match against Somnes. We spoke about her earlier on this tournament. She's looked pretty decent. So yeah, possibly if I was looking at the bottom half now, it'd be interesting to see what price Samsonova comes out. Conditions should be perfect for her here. She's shown glimpses of some pretty decent tennis, and conditions should be right up her street. But I think looking now, 2-1 Bencic is, if you were going to give that to me now, that probably looks reasonably fair, with the top half looking easiest and the form she showed by that one game.
Yeah, remember the odds on Bet Rivers will be out later today on Saturday. Tournament starts tomorrow. On Sunday, we'll be able to live stream all the matches across all three women's tournaments on the Bet Rivers app. And we are anticipating Belinda Bencic to be around about the 2-1 mark to win and successfully defend her title in Abu Dhabi and win it for the third time in 4 years. If you can get bigger than that, it's well worth a bet. A little bit under that, it's probably still, it's no marginal value, but she is the person to beat, and it depends on you. Or Samsonova in the bottom half of the draw, and you'll certainly get some double figure prices about her. Could be some value each way to get to the final at a half the odds of her win chance. If she's 10-1, she'll be about a 5-1 shot to get to the final. That could give you some each way alternative. We do have a third tournament, and we unfortunately do not have the draw on this one, and this will not be coming hot off the press. This is a tournament in the Czech Republic. It hasn't been played for a few years. We haven't had it in action since I think it was 2022 the last time we had it, and a Czech player won it. Barbara Krejcikova won it that year. She beat Igor Swiatek in the final. Kontaveit won it in 2021, and that lady again, Arina Zabalenka, the world number one, was victorious here in 2020. We will not have anybody of this standard, even the runners-up, Swiatek, Zachary, Azarenka. We don't have any of those of this style, and they're playing this version of Ostrava in 2026. But who do we have participating over in the Czech Republic?
Yeah, I'm just going to get the player list up there in front of me now, Nigel. As far as it's like the WTA does return here, having previously held events here in 2020 to 2022. I think Sabalenka won it there in 2020 and Annette Kontaveit in 2021. And like I said, the home player won it in 2022, Barbara Krejcikova. Just looking at the players list that are in there this year. Just have to find them on my screen just as we find them there, Nigel. Do you have a list?
Well, while you find that, let's have a look at. Let me just run through the trends. If you want to look for them, we'll look at the trends here. If we can have a look at this, what we got to find. The home players obviously have done exceptionally well. Krejcikova has obviously won it, and all these kind of tournaments, you want to be looking at those home players. The home players could be players to look for. Obviously, I think it's going to be a problem for travelling. I think when you travel back, if you played in the Australian Open, that run across to Czech Republic is going to be fairly difficult for you to come across. So anybody who has, even if they played for a couple of rounds, I think you'd be better off to be someone fresh. And obviously from those previous winners, the number top seeds have done exceptionally well, either winning it or becoming a runner-up as well. So trends will go for home players. Look for those players who have stayed away from the Australian Open, don't have that long, like 22-hour travel or whatever it is to get back from Melbourne to Czech Republic. And obviously look for those players who are the top seed. So who have you got who's in action? Who is likely to be the top seed this week?
Well, there's no player in the women's top 40 here, so that kind of tells you what we're sort of looking at. And I think the highest entered ranking player on the list is Tatiana Maria, so that sort of tells you what we're dealing with here. Probably one of the most exciting players is Alicia Parks. She's a player we spoke about. I think she took that first set off Mukova, and I'd be really, really excited to see her on some indoor hard courts. She's a player who loves these conditions, and I think against a field of those kind of players, she should fancy her chances. Another player who's here who might be sort of exciting for the crowds is Katie Bolter. Again, she's been a little bit sort of below her best, but she's shown sort of glimpses. Added to that, you've got Amelia Arango, Anna Blinkova. I think Fran Jones is in here. Whether she's going to be 100% fit, she had to retire in her match before in Australia out there. And I think the other interesting one that makes up the list is Rebecca Shramkova. So a list of not sort of elite, a few notable names, but yeah, nothing. If Tatiana Maria is the highest ranked player in the field, that kind of tells you what kind of tournament we're looking at.
We could be looking at a very, very high number as a favourite, probably the most competitive tournament. Well, it will be the most competitive tournament of the calendar, 2026 calendar so far. So we haven't got the draw yet, but when the draw does come out, Tim will be right on our Instagram page at Because We Win, giving you his advice on where the best bets are on the bracket with Bet Rivers. So not really much to go on in Czech Republic. Wait for that draw to see, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a stellar field, and the draw isn't like it's going to be exciting. But it doesn't matter where you have a winner is a winner, whatever part of the world you are. So the big event this week is Abu Dhabi. All the matches will be live streamed across the Bet Rivers app, so you'll be able to watch all the action there if you place a wager on that. And remember, myself and Tim will be back on Monday to look at all the best first round matches and maybe second round matches as well across all three tournaments. So if you get your betting fix on Monday, and myself and Sean Calver have a preview out now on the Australian Open men's final. Incredible semi-final day yesterday. Novak Djokovic takes to the court against Carlos Alcaraz. We previewed that, and obviously we'll be back on Game Bet Match to cover the tournament in Montpellier. And as well as that in Montpellier, I will be in the south of France in Montpellier from Thursday on our socials at Because We Win as well. Tim, thanks for joining me on this Sunday. It's been a massive 2 weeks of tennis action, and hopefully we continue some good winners here going into next week as well. So more content coming your way. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Have a good day, mate.
Cheers, Nigel. Thank you.